in just 4 years, maybe a little bit longer, Donald Trump has single-handedly radicalized the entire left, the entire Democratic Party in the United States. Don't believe me? Stick with me a minute. No, we've not changed. No, we're not radical. We have not become any more radical. We never were radical. See, what happened before Donald Trump is we had a middle, people who, kind of were in the middle of politics. We had a left. We had a middle, we had a left, a center left, we had a left, and then way out here we had a radical left, and we had the same thing on the right, where we had a center right, a right, and then a radical right. What we saw with the Tea Party, this is a true story, what we saw with the Tea Party is that the entire right wing of politics really did start to become more radical. The left, on the other hand, we really haven't changed. We're still the same tree-hugging, care about the environment, think that everybody should have basic needs met in life, like a living wage and health care for all, which is something that the Democrats have been fighting for more than 20 years. And we still don't want to take your guns away. We still don't want to bring in socialism and take all your rights away and wipe away private property, which is probably the biggest lie that Republicans tell you. And I did a video about what communism and socialism really is, and I'll put a link up here so that you can watch that. No, we really have not become more radical. So what did I mean when I say that Donald Trump has single-handedly radicalized the left? Well, according to his base, according to the people who vote for him, according to, I think, the majority of the Republican Party now, we are no longer just Democrats. We're no longer just liberals. We're the radical left. When's the last time you heard anyone on Team Trump say, call us a Democrat or call us liberals without attaching the radical adjective to it? We haven't changed that much, sure. We have AOC and other more progressive left people in Congress who want to do green New Deals and stuff like that. But, was it Truman? No, FDR did the New Deal to bring us out of the Depression in the 30s. These are not radical, well, maybe they are radical ideas, but that doesn't mean that we are. He's using radical as a way to scare his base into thinking that when Joe Biden takes office, they can kiss their country goodbye, they can kiss their guns goodbye, they can kiss their private property goodbye, that we're going to be socialist like Russia was socialist, which isn't socialism. And again, look at the video. This is what he is. This is one of the tools he is using to control his base. He uses adjectives, attaching them to things and people to change their opinion, to attach a negative connotation to that person or thing. He did it with the liberals, calling us the radical liberals. We're no longer just liberals. There is no longer just a fringe radical element of liberals. According to him, and according to all of them, because of him, we're all just crazy liberals and we're the enemy because we want to take the country away. This is dangerous, insightful rhetoric that is partly to blame for where we got this week with the storming of the Capitol. And I'm going to continue to unpack, or as we continue to unpack what happened at the Capitol this week, I'm going to continue to explore these ideas, these tools that Donald Trump has used, and these ideas about how we got here. And this is a big one. We all kind of have brushed off Donald Trump and his name calling. Oh, he's just childish. No, there's a reason for this. Did you know that there are 7 forms of propaganda? I'm going to put a link below because I encourage you to read the 7 forms. I'll list them now. There's bandwagon propaganda. I'm not going to explain them all to you. There's bandwagon, there's testimonial, there's plain folk, transfer, fear, logistical fallacies, and guess what the last form of propaganda is? Guess. Name calling. attaching a negative name. And in Donald Trump's case, what he does is he attaches a negative adjective to a name so that you forever relate that negative adjective to that person. Crooked Hillary. Every rally he went to, crooked Hillary, crooked Hillary, crooked Hillary. So that whenever his base thought of Hillary, crooked Hillary. And you might say, oh, it's just a word. Oh, it was just him being childish. These were human beings. We have very complex brains that we don't fully understand. Those things stick with us. Think about something as simple as like rainy day. You talk to your daughter on the phone and she's like, yeah, it's a really rainy day here today. And so every time you think about your daughter for the rest of the day, even though maybe 15 minutes after you got off the phone with her, it cleared up, the sun is out, it's 90 degrees, it's beautiful, not a cloud in the sky. Every time you think about your daughter that day, and maybe until you talk to her again, you're going to think about that her living that rainy day, right? Or blue moon. The blue moon's not a real thing. There's no such thing as a blue moon, but we always expect to see blue when we look at a blue moon. These are kind of horrible examples. Donald Trump is much better at this than I am. Crooked Hillary. Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe is a big one. I can't tell you how many comments I have seen in my comment section about Sleepy Joe falling asleep and being in the basement. These are not based in reality. They're not based in truth. But Trump, by putting a negative adjective, by attaching a negative adjective to a thing that he wants to defeat, that he wants to change your mind about, he then makes you associate, all of us, he makes you associate that negative thing with that person or thing. Sleepy Joe Biden, crazy Joe Biden, crooked Hillary, the radical left. Leaking James Comey, right? That was a big one. Leaky James Comey, so that he was so inept he couldn't even control his own team, and all he did was leak, and it discredits him. I don't know for sure that Trump is doing this consciously. I don't know. He's done it all his life. He calls people names, but whether he's doing it on purpose or not, the end result is that he is controlling. Actually, I learned this as a small business owner. We talked about in some of the training that I did, in some of the marketing training, we talked about our elevator pitches. And when somebody asks you, rule number one, as a marketer or any small business owner, rule number one, when you are at a networking event and somebody says, what do you do for a living? You never say marketing consultant. You never say attorney, because automatically people are going to have an idea about what that means. And you want to control the narrative. I help small business owners get more customers, was my line. Because consultant, automatically, what do you think when you hear consultant? Oh, charges too much, doesn't deliver. I wanted to control what that person thought about what I did. I didn't want them to automatically come to their own conclusions. That's what Donald Trump does. He manages that narrative. He manages that. He takes control of that. He doesn't want you to just think about Hillary Clinton and think about whatever you think about her. He wanted you to think about her the way he wants you to think about her. Did I say that right? He wants you to think of, every time you think of Hillary Clinton, to think crooked Hillary, emails, crooked Hillary, emails. And it worked. He defeated her. And now he has done the same thing with radical liberal. Every time you hear liberal come out of the mouth of Trump or one of his supporters, it's attached to radical. And what does radical mean? Something you should fear. Communism, socialism, taking your rights away. This is one of the tools that Donald Trump has used to control and manipulate his base into following him, believing him, getting his way. This is how he uses his base to get what he wants from them. By changing basically the conversation about these things and these people. Heaven forbid anyone should say, yeah, First Lady Hillary Clinton, who worked her butt off to try to get health care for all. Oh, no. He didn't want that. Or poor Hillary, who sat through all those Benghazi hearings only to be found innocent again and again, oh no, it had to be crooked Hillary. It had to be crooked Hillary. Words matter. And Donald Trump, as a marketing genius, I'm sorry, I can't say the G word with him. He knows his marketing. This is how he has elevated his stature and elevated himself. He's a fraud. The only thing he does well is he knows how to manipulate people's image of him. He knows how to manipulate the media. And maybe this is a skill. Maybe it's not even conscious, but maybe this is a skill that he has learned throughout his life, or maybe he learned it from his father. That when you attach a negative adjective to something you don't like, something you want to beat, something that you need to discredit, you can change people's mind about that thing. And so now in Donald Trump's world, there is no such thing as a tree-hugging Democrat. We are radicals, and we are the ones who are trying to take America away from you. And that's why it's okay for us to storm the Capitol with the intent on hanging Mike Pence and kidnapping members of Congress. He has put that seed in their head. He has manipulated their thinking about us to suit his own needs, to get what he wants. And I don't think he's smart enough to do all this on his own. I think he's got help from a brilliant KGB guy. Food for thought. I'll see you next time.